will not spark. Totally rehabilitated ferro rod. So I was just shooting a video about ferro rods and I was about to demonstrate a technique to use with them. And I could not get a spark to come off of this one. I mean, painstakingly, if I tried really hard, you know, let me see here if I can get, I don't know if you can see up close, but you see I'm taking, the material's coming off. Right, there's all kinds of material that I've removed, right? See all that metal there, right? So I mean, the metal's coming off, right? Is it the problem with my knife? Oh, I don't know. Let's get a different ferro rod and see. There's a different ferro rod, right? So, problem not the knife. The problem is the ferro rod. And this is one of those big, thick, heavy, expensive ones that they say you should have because they're so robust and they last so long. Well, they might last a long time, but I mean, there's finally a spark, right? Like I have to really work to get a spark off of this, right? Or this one here is a cheap Chinese one. I got a pack of 10 for like $5 10 years ago. Still sparks great, very sparky. Okay, so I mean, quality is one thing, materials are one thing, but I remember this one worked when I bought it, right? But I might have had it for 20 years. And it's not like it's been outdoors all that time. And it will still make sparks in a pinch, but it is incredibly reluctant to spark up for me. And that, it's regardless of what, I mean, I was playing around before I made the video. It doesn't matter what I use. This little fishing knife tends to be very sparky. It's good for making sparks. That's why I use it for this video, right? So it's not a question of my sparking tool. It's just that the metal in this is oxidized. And I mean, it's often the case that the exterior gets oxidized. And if you just remove some of that material, make it shiny again, it'll spark. This here just does not want to go, right? I have to get really good pressure. There. I mean, look how much metal has come off of that. Right, that's a lot, right? That should have sparked, right? So I would say, you know, at the beginning of, you know, I mean, if you're in the woods all year, that's one thing. But if you've got like a particular knife with a particular ferro rod, I tend to have them attached to my knives, so they stay there for a while. It's good once a year, if you're not using them all the time, to just make sure they actually work. Like I normally bring this in the woods and I have attached to my knife, and once in a while I'll use it just to you know, practice and hone that skill of starting fires with a ferro rod, because it's a lot, you know, it's more difficult than starting with a Bic lighter, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. But 9 times out of 10, if I'm in the woods and I've got a Bic lighter in my pocket, and that's what I use to start a fire because it's quick and it's easy and it's reliable. But I always have this as a backup, right? Number one, you got to practice making fires with your backup so that you know how to do it when you're in a situation where you need it. But number two, the backup has to work. If it doesn't work, it's not really a backup, right? So I know that this one here, right, will, that will spark. Sparks just fine, right? And so I know that this backup is a backup. But having this thing along as a backup, it's not a backup. It's just a piece of metal that barely sparks anymore. Just to prove a point, I thought I'd use one of these tools that comes with a ferro rod. I don't know when I got this one, I got it years ago, but this came with a little kit, right? For starting fires, right? So, you know, this, you get a healthy rod, this will make nice sparks all day long, right? Now, this piece of junk, this one that's spent, let's see if it'll work. Right, this is a special tool for sparking up ferro rods, right? Again, go back to a ferro rod that's viable. Whoa! You got fireworks, right? So, yeah, just proving the point that it's not the knife. I know some people say, oh, your knife isn't this steel or that steel or da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, it's the ferro rods. They just lose their powers over time. I'm using that word colloquially. I know they're not powers, right? There's a chemical change in the metal where, you know, the properties it had due to oxidization and chemical changes that result from that just greatly reduce its ability to make a fire when you scrape it with metal. So what do you do when you have this problem where you've got a ferro rod that just will not spark up? Well, your option is to take a flat file to it, okay, and just methodically work your way around the entire surface of the rod. I mean, what's happened is the metal is oxidized, as far as I understand it. Okay, so you got to remove all of that material. And it's one of these big fat ones, right? That cost so much. And they get a lot bigger than this. I've seen these things, some of these guys on YouTube using these things, and they're like 1/2 inch in diameter, right? A centimeter and a half. Anyway, you work your way all the way around. We're just about there now. We're going by feel here. And once you've done that, you give it a try. Right? Definitely an improvement. I gotta just flatten the corner here so I can really work on it. Remember, with a file, you don't go back and forth like this. Files go one way, right? Want to wreck a file, do it both ways. And what you're trying to do is just get that surface as true as you can, as back to factory as you can, I guess, is one way of putting it. There's a couple weird spots on here. Alright, let's try that again with the sparking tool. Whoa. Alright, now let's use a knife. Alright, just got a knife here, using the back of the knife. Right? Totally rehabilitated ferro rod from same knife, right? Same knife. I don't have the same problem, right? Right? Because I just, you know, removed all the affected material, right? Now I got great reliability. Rehabilitated. So yeah, just a few tips on making sure that your ferro rod is maintained and functioning properly, and what to do if it isn't. Hopefully you can bring it back, you know, file it down, and it gets back to being a reliable, you know, spark maker, right? As opposed to what I showed you before with completely unreliable spark maker, and, you know, not the sort of thing you'd want to have as this, you know, all around plan B backup, plan B or plan C backup. When all else fails, you've got that ferro rod to make fires when you need them, right? So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, enjoy the outdoors on the cheap. Thanks for watching.